Alright, so you now want to set up your local database to test your local web API. So to test this database using the provided SQL code, we first need to modify the provided SQL code because in some cases it might not actually work as intended. So first of all, I want to open up my Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio. I'm using version 18 or major release 18. Just give it some time. I'm going to check that I'm connected to my local database server. I'm going to connect. And as you can see, I do not have the server just yet. So I'm going to double click the SQL script. It's going to open up in here. If this does not open up for you like this, you click new. You can right click the script and click edit and then copy and paste it into here. This should do exactly the same as just double clicking the script. So I'm just actually going to be using that for now. And save that. So the issue comes in with the provided SQL is that it's using a fixed file path. If you installed the correct version of Microsoft SQL 15, then you might be able to create the file just as is. But if you have a different version or you installed it in a different path, this will not work for you. So the only solution is you need to make a new path for the file to be written to, or the file to be created at. So to do this, we are going to create a file or folder in our C drive main directory. As you can see, I'm in my C drive main directory, and I'm going to right click and say new. I'm going to call it database, and I'm going to say, why do I have a new folder here? That should be gone. All right, anyway. So now I have a new folder called database. You can unfortunately not create this local files in your in any other directory in your C drive or any other user directory. You can maybe create it in the public directory, but you cannot create it in your user directory, as there are some issues with your permissions, and that's just a whole shebang to sort out. So I would just recommend creating it in your C drive root directory, call it database, and then copy the path. Now we only need to change the path from here. So we're going to be changing the entire path, but not the file name. So it's going to be everything in front of the last backslash space. So it's going to be look something like this: C colon backslash database backslash the file name file extension. You're going to be doing the same for the log file. So it's going to be C colon backslash database backslash file name and extension. Then the script should pretty much be working just fine. As you can see, I do not have the files right now. But after I execute, I think I buggered something up with the script. Let me just have a look here. Unclosed quotation at where? Where did I unclose a quotation? Because I had something selected. Do not select code because then the execution only runs the things you have selected. So just click somewhere else and then execute again. There you go. Now, as you can see, I have my files. So as you can see, I now have my database files. If your database does not show up here, you can just right click to refresh, or not right click, just click on the refresh icon, and then your database should be showing up. Then you should have your three tables. You have your category, devices, and zone. Right click your category and then select the top 1000 rows. As you can see, we have nothing in here thus far. To insert data, you can either type the SQL yourself, or you can just right click, not rename, right click script table as, and insert to statement, and I want to create it in a new query. And it's going to provide you with some skeleton code on how to create your insert query. So the first part is going to be my category ID, and my category ID is a unique identifier. So we're going to be saying new ID to generate a new UID. And then we're going to just give it nvarchar. That is just a string, so we're just going to call it test cat. Then we have category descriptions, also in varchar, and it's also string, so we're just going to call it this is a test. And the last one is going to be a date, so we're just going to change this to get date. All right, then we're going to execute it, and we wrote one row. All right, so let's go back to the selection, run this again, and as you can see, I now have my new row inserted. You can do the same for all of the other device or all of your other tables. I do not think this database they gave us has any relationships hard coded into it, so you should be able to just add data into any table. Yeah, as you can see, there is implication of relationships, but they are not enforced. If they were enforced, you would see some lines connecting these tables, but that's not the case. So you can just go add data into any of the tables. They do not need to have a child's the child and the parent records to be valid. So I hope this helped. If you have any questions, you guys know what to do. Cheers, cheers.